Hello and welcome to my train deck profile. Now before we jump right into the list as usual, I have one or two things to say. The first thing is that I do have a schedule change coming up into the channel. Not something that really need to bother you, but it might mean that we're going to see more videos even though I'm going to be in studies. Kind of a funny thing, when I'm in a schedule, or should I say like a live schedule, I'm more entitled to create more videos because I feel I'm doing something with my life. So I'm starting studies again, so expect maybe more videos. Also, secondly, the D&D stuff is going to come back, so for anybody who's not interested to watch, it wouldn't hurt me if you're not going to watch it. It's just there if you want to. And for those who are interested in this, it's going to be back. And the last thing, obviously, I'm going to say, a subscriber a day, keep the depression away. So if you want to help the channel and see more videos like this, or just in general and interested in helping this channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and giving it a like to the video just to show that you appreciate it and you find it useful. But without further ado, let's jump right into the list. Alright, so two particular things before we jump right into the list. First off, the most apparent one, I got a new playmat, which looks amazing. I am not sponsored for this. I purchased it with my own earned money. And this is something that is really looking amazing, and I think it's just a very, very high quality playmat. And if you want to look at the full arts, links in the description down below. I just really like Duskworker Supai, so I just decided to purchase myself this playmat, and it's obviously amazing. But now let's talk about the usual second thing that we were mostly talking about, and that is the deck price. Before we'll jump right into the monster lineup. And the deck price is very, very expensive for the cards from Legendary Duelist 2, or should I say Legendary Duelist Sisters of the Rose. And you are going to get them reprinted in Legendary Duelist Season 2 in February 2021. So for anybody who are looking for those guys, you're more than welcome to get them, or should I say, like, they will be available later down the line. But now let's move on to the monsters. So starting things off, for the train lineup, I only run trains at 8, because you really don't need more to run more than these, because Night Express Knight is just a needed normal summon if you need it. Or should I say, a normal summon for a level 10 if you need it and you don't open up with anything else. God, I don't know why I made it so complex. And Stampede is just a good normal summon or special summon from deck if you need to make the rank 9. And you don't want to have way too much normal summons, which you already have like 4 more, or like I would say 5 more, so you don't really want to have way too much normal summons. So these are like, it really depends. But yeah, these are really okay. And then these two. Derek Rain, chain block your opponent, and then Super Bullet Train, your recovery card during the end phase, if you're ever getting to the end phase with this deck, because it's supposed to be OTK, and also, free special summon if you're controlling only Earth machines. And also forgot to mention this, when it's detach, which is not a hard once per turn, the detaching effect, you're able to pop a card your opponent control, which is also really cool. But that's it for the trains. We're running 8. It works perfectly in my opinion. If you want to bump up this card to 2, you're more than welcome to. I just only needed the 1, but that's technically up to you. Next up, for a small Machina engine, we're running 1 copy of Citadel and 2 copies of Melee Cruncher, which I finally got this card very recently. That's why I kind of like put this deck on a delay, even though I wanted to do it a little bit earlier. Melee Cruncher is awesome. A lot more than I gave it credit for, because at the start I really hated this card because I felt like it just didn't really do enough. But then after realizing a few things about this card and realizing that maybe I need different names for stuff, Melee Cruncher at 2 just does what you need it to do. You don't want to see it at 3 because at 3 is really bad, and because of the fact that it's level 9, if it was level 10 it was perfect, but unfortunately it isn't. Just as a 2-off is really cool, and it's also help you facilitate calamities, which is also really cool. So if you're forced going first, this is also help you facilitate calamities, so that's really cool in that regard. And then Citadel, this card is really annoying, and also help you break boards and control the board. It's a really weird one. It can only be special summoned by a card effect, and then if an Earth Machine is destroyed while this is in your graveyard, you're able to special summon it. And then you also, as a quick effect, target an Earth Machine, destroy it, and then destroy all monsters with your opponent attack, or should I say attack equal or less to that monster. So this card is like absolutely insane. If you're like your opponent trying to break your board, you just summon this, and you're also able, I think, to you have some effects that able to summon this from the graveyard. Not a whole lot of them, but you do have some of them. So this card is it's literally insane. I think what is his name again? Knuckle, I think, can summon this because it counts as level 10 as it's summoned by a card effect, and there are some interactions But mostly you want to have him in the graveyard as like a card that just help you blow up your opponent's board and punish them. Also, if they're forcing you going first, that's pretty much the reason why we run him. But he's also really good going second. Next up, we're running to the Infinitrack engine, which is another Earth Machine engine, which is really good. Triple copies of best card, Brutal Dozer, followed up by second best card, 2 Harvester. This is the one that I am considering cutting down to 1, but I still like it at 2 as an additional normal summon that I sometimes needs. 1 copy of Uncruel Drill, 1 copy of Trencher, and lastly, the 1 copy of Tunneler. Now, granted, going first, I am switching this as another card for something else, which we'll get to the side. But the point is, these are really what they really great cards. Uncruel Drill, if you open up with this, your hands are busted, or you're able to essentially special summon this from hand, from deck with your field spell to make your hand even more busted if you're going first or something like that. It's literally because of the fact that it's an additional really good normal summon, or help you make your combos better for the most part. But mostly you just need the 1. Trencher and Tunneler kind of like serve the same purpose. Trencher is honestly the better option to summon with a Brutal Dozer effect, but if you do see the Trencher, you have the Tunneler as the secondary option, which is really good, and it's also good in the grind game to shuffle 5 cards and get 2 cards to your hand, which is really, really cool. Then this one is just normal summon or special summon. You search on Infinitrack, and this one tribute an Earth Machine, special summon it, and also these can also do that. But this one, when it's special summon, he special summon an Infinitrack from your deck, which is these 5. But mostly you're going to summon these 2, and then it's effect negated, and you lock yourself to Earth Machine. Just keep that in mind. And these 2 also, or should I say these 3. Have the ability to change their level, or should I say target another Earth Machine and make it their level combined, so that can also really help you if you want trying to go to a rank 12, which we'll get to it, or to a rank 9 with Calamities, which also, if you're able to summon this and this together somehow, you're able to make Calamities turn 1 just by normal summoning, so that's even more crazy. So just want to point that out there. And that's it for the monsters. Now move on to the board breakers, I guess. First off, we're running triple copies of Jizukiru and the 1 copy of Gamma Seal. These are amazing, which we'll get to the reason in a second. Then 2 Ash and 2 Effect Veiler. These could be whatever hand traps you wish. You can even cut the 1 Harvester, which I'm considering, and maybe run another hand trap of your choice. It can be a 3rd Ash Blossom, or you can even just like run the Omega package instead of this if you feel it's more necessary. I found like the Omega package is just really not that good in this deck, because you're really reliant on your normal summon, and you don't really care if your opponent like destroys your spells and traps, like what are called revolving not revolving switchyard, urgent schedule. You don't really care that much if your opponent stop it. You mostly care if your opponent stop your normal summon. So you want to essentially like have cards that are better than that. Like honestly, Gamma and Omega can also just like get you stuck because of the fact that they are not Earth Machines, and you're not really able to do anything about it. So just that's the reason for the hand traps. As for these guys, these are amazing. You can get rid of an annoying card like some ones that equip, or something that equipped with the Buster Lock, or you can also get rid of a Dragoon or an Appaloosa, depending on the situation. And even if you open up with multiple of these, they can be used as extenders. This one cannot. This is just an additional name if you need to. I am considering cutting it down, and like I said, the Harvester, and maybe running 3 and 3, or 3, 2, and then 2 Ghost Ogre, but honestly, it's, like I said, personal preference. But this one is also just realized to have the 4th name, because sometimes you do need the 4th name. So yeah, it's literally depends, and these do what they need to do. But that's pretty much does it for the monsters. Now we'll move on to the spells. Spells are literally self-explanatory for the most part. They're mostly your consistency spells, and maybe your helping board breaker, which we'll get to him. So first off, 3 copies of Revolving Switchyard, followed by 1 copy of Terraforming, triple copies of Heavy Forward, triple copies of Urgent Schedule, and then lastly, our board breaker that I mentioned, Dark Ruler No More. Now honestly, Dark Ruler No More is not the best this format, but I needed some kind of a card of a blowout to my opponent, because they could most of the time rip a card out of your hand if you're playing Smoke Grenade, but only against Inferno Noble Knights, and against Inferno Noble Knights you obviously side something else. But most matchups, like don't really have the best way to deal with it. Still, the only ones that are annoying are Infernal Noble Knights and those that use Smoke Grenade. But for the most part, people don't really have a way to deal with this. And this pulls a Kaiju just mean turn out to the entire field, which is really powerful, so that's why I decided to go with this. But honestly, you can do whatever you want, and then you can just build a Calamity in your board, or like a Super Dora targeted, and just break their board and just have a very, very good time. As for Engine Schedule, really, really good card, can be used as a very, very good card to essentially summon a level 4 or lower and level 5 or higher Earth Machine. Also can be used not only as helping you to essentially extend, but also as a protector if your opponent kind of attacking you and you want to protect yourself from game against things like what it called, I forgot the name, access code. So sometimes you're able to like use this, they're trying to pop this, you're able to flip this over, right? And they have to waste 3 pops to only get rid of that monsters, and most of the time that's pretty much not enough for them, because you're always going to have additional monsters. So it's like sometimes it's like enough for you to protect you from OTK, so that's also another interactions that you need to essentially notice. So that's also really cool. Also, if it's get popped, you get the ability to add a level 10 Earth Machine monster to your hand, so that's also a cool thing, but mostly doesn't happen. Then we have Heavy Forward, which is the searcher for the Infinitrack engine. This card facilitates the Infinitrack engine by itself. And it does a few particular things for you. First off, when it's activated, obviously you search on Infinitrack, which is really cool. Most of the time you're going to search Brutal Dozer or Harvester, depending on your hand. And then secondly, it has 2 additional nice effects that you can activate one of them to essentially, do some particular stuff. And they're mostly kind of like useful going first because of a particular card. Because of the fact that this card have the ability to change a machine Xyz monster battle position, or secondly attaches as a material, which is also really good. So it also help you fuel up your other cards. But it's like it's mostly good for going first, or you can just also do some stupid things with this. It's literally just a great card. It's up to you, honestly, what you want to do with this. And then Revolving Switchyard, the field spell. Obvious. It's mostly have 2 effects. The first one is the effect that you mostly use going first, unless of course you're not able to, or should I say, use Dark Ruler no more, and then you have to build a board. So the first effect just means that your opponent will take no battle damage, or should I say damage for the rest of the turn, and then you're able, after you summon a level 10, summon a level 4 out of your deck Earth Machine with 1800 attack or more. I believe that's the catch. I think it's 1800 attack specifically. And then it's essentially turns to a level 10. So you have 2 targets, which are Pegasus or Uncle Drill, depending on the situation. The secondary effect is the effect that you mostly use, which is discard a card, any card, to search any level 10, which you can search your 7 targets. 8 targets, because you have the 3 Night Express Knight, the 1 Night Express Knight, the 3 Bullet Train, the 3 Derek Crane, and the 1 Machina Citadel, because it's also level 10, so that's also an option. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, that's pretty much does it for the spells, honestly, and does it for the main deck specifically. Honestly, very, very straight off main deck. It's literally just one punch main deck. That's literally what it's supposed to do. And I think sometimes it does it even better than Crusadia, which Crusadia like to say that they're the best OTK deck, but I think this deck is even more heart-built into go into OTK. Next up for your extra deck, you're running 2 copies, in my opinion, like 2 copies of Libe, 2 copies of Dora, which should be one of these, the other copy of Gustav Max, but I don't have a secondary Gustav Max, so I decided to run, like this and not like Proxy or something. But secondary Gustav Max, in my opinion, is a little bit better because of the fact that it can just help you just OTK your opponent next turn really, really easily, even just by getting 2 Earth Machines if you weren't able to do previous turn for some reason. But yeah, this is a really, really good card. You're going this, and there is a particular combo that I will show at the end, which is really, really cool, that essentially just lets you OTK your opponent really, really easily. So that's really, really cool. And the last Earth Machine one that we're running is the so-called double-headed Unger Knuckle. Really, really good card, giving you the ability to, during the main phase as a quick effect, you can send 1 monster from your hand or field to the graveyard and then target a level 10 machine monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And then if it's in your graveyard, you can send 1 card from the hand or field to the graveyard and special summon it itself. Obviously, it can only use one of the effects per turn, and only once that turn, and also it cannot be used as a link material, but still, we're really good. And like I mentioned, I think this is a card effect, so it can essentially summon Citadel. I'm still kind of like sometimes like a little bit weirded by Citadel because I haven't tested him enough. But the point is, I think this can summon Citadel. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. Just let me know if I'm wrong, but I think I am right on that one because I haven't encountered this one yet. So just going to mention that. Next up for the Infinitracks, 2 River Stormer, 1 Earth Slicer, 1 Goliath. This is really important. You can also just go 1, 1, and 1 if you want to, and then cut this to anything else that you feel. But I really like this lineup, very, very much so, because it's really cool. So you have Earth, or should I say River Stormer, it's your Searcher, or your, what are called? Or your Foolish Burial. So again, you can just get Citadel to the graveyard if you need to, which is really cool. Or if this card is in your graveyard, you can pretty much tribute a Machine Link Monster. I'm always getting stuck on these. Machine Link Monster, and then special summon this card in your graveyard in defense position. Which might sound to you a little bit weird. What is that good? Well, it's because of this guy. Goliath is really cool for the fact that it can just like pretty much use as any Infinitrack, and then just like if it gets tributed or just sent to the graveyard, it's getting to attach itself to any Earth, or should I say any Xyz monster, I believe, as a material, but only if it's used for an Earth Machine, it's protected it from, cannot be destroyed by card effects. So it's only for Earth Machine, the protection, but it can attach itself to everything, so that's really cool. And then Earth Slicer, just like a card that just pops stuff by the materials that you detach from him. And I believe both of them, if they're destroying something, they can also, by battle, they can just attach to the material or something. I don't really 100% remember, but the point is, this one, detach 2, destroy 2. That's pretty much what it does, and it's your rank 9 option if you're not able to go Calamity because of the fact that you're locking yourself to Earth Machine. Then, for the rest, number 77, 7 Cents, Calamity, Clifford Genius, Platinum Gadget, and Ballista. So, these two are mostly because of the fact that you have Ankle Drill and Harvester. These are really good. This Harvester on a level 10 just wipe the entire field. Calamities also can punish your opponent also with, what his name? Metal Cruncher, which is really cool. Genius is always good. This sometimes comes up because of the fact that you need a special summon from your hand, which is really cool. So, you know, it's okay. It's not the best, but sometimes like you need to summon the Pegasus from your hand or Harvester from your hand to continue your play. So it's okay. The problem is like it's a light, so it sometimes kind of sucks, but honestly it's okay for the most part. And then Ballista, because of the fact that Ballista is absolutely broken, especially if you have the field spell and the what are called the continuous spell for the Infinitracks, because you're able to pop it and then essentially make a monster 0 attack 0 defense. And able to attack over it with Leap. It's so stupid, and I love this so much. But that's pretty much does it for the deck itself. Pretty self-explanatory and pretty simple and straightforward. So now, let's move on into the side deck as usual. Alright, so now let's talk about the side deck. So for the side deck itself, there are 2 particular cards that I'm going to put in very firstly that some people are going to wonder, but I think they're really good. So for the 2 copies of, or should I say 1 copy of Drug Shovel and 1 copy of Spin Turn to essentially switch things around with the Infinitrack engine. Why? Because Drug Shovel is kind of like doing what Tunned do as like a secondary option if you open up Trencher in your hand. Also, sometimes it's a better option because of the fact that it's also able to search for you Spin Turn, which is, how should I say? Oh yeah, an interruption. So yeah, Spin Turn and Trencher in my opinion, and not Trencher, not Brutal Dozer, what is his name again? Drag Shovel, right. Drag Shovel are really nice, I like them a lot. If you don't like them, you're more than welcome to play something else, but I like them as 1 and 1 each. Secondly, we're going to play 3 DD Crow, sorry, not 3 DD Crow, 3 Drawn Lockbird, 2 Ghost Ogre, and 2 copies of DD Crow, that's what I meant. I want to run this number of ratios because of the fact that I feel like Drawn Lockbird becoming a little bit more needed, so I decided to run, you know, that. So I decided to essentially maximize it on Drawn Lockbird compared to anything else. So yeah, you can run that, and it's literally depending on the matchup, but that's really cool for that. 3 Cosmic Cyclone because of the fact that we sometimes need to deal with back row decks that are a little bit of annoying, so I decided to maximize on that because I do have space in the side deck, and honestly, it's up to you. And then lastly, I decided to also run, what are it called? I forgot the name of that card. Oh yeah, one copy of Prankertops and the third copy of Ash Blossom and the third copy of Effect Veiler. I don't know why I forgot about Pranky Boy, but sometimes I'm forgetting the name of Pranky Boy. The point is, I want to have like an additional completionist for my hand traps if I need be. And honestly, like I said, side deck is up to you. You can do whatever you want with it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now we'll move on to the simple 2-card combo OTK, I guess. Alright, so now let's move on to the 2 cards OTK thing that you need to do. Obviously, this is like a joke. I'm just using this to kind of like, show what it needs to happen. Obviously, your opponent is going to have different things, and you might need to use your kaiju and your hand traps and whatever you have in your hand. But technically, to achieve this OTK, you need 2 cards that essentially will, at the end, get you to the same result, which will get you to the 2 level 10s that you need, and then maybe kind of like a continuous spell of sort that essentially will give you because of a particular card in the extra deck, which is a Ballista. But now let's go into show how the combo works. So first things first, you're going to let them normal summon, I guess, for the joke. Like I said, then you normal summon Cruncher. You're then going to search the Bullet Train. Because it's not in your hand, right? Or should I say, not the Bullet Train, the Dirk Train. Because it's not in your hand, you're allowed to, reveal 3 and get this to your hand. If this is in your hand, you can just search the Bullet Train and that's it, and do whatever you want. And then you're going to use the effect of this to search this, which then you special summon, chain block with Derek Crane, and then this will search for you, or special summon the Trencher. You're then going to make these 2 specifically right now into the River Stormer, and it doesn't really matter what you touch, but you're going to search the Bullet Train. Then you're going to link off into Goliath, make the Trencher banish to summon the Brutal Dozer back, and then you're going to use Bullet Train effect to special summon itself. You're then going to use these 2 and still not use the effect of Gustav Max because you don't really want to get ogred. Let's say your opponent saved an ogre in your hand and this is the only thing that they're able to ogre. You don't really want them to get rid of this because this is the hard one for the OTKs. So first things first, you're going to use these 2 to summon your Ballista, and because this was sent to the graveyard, it will attach itself to the Gustav Max, which is really cool. Then you're going to use the effect of Ballista, popping this, turning this into 0, then essentially burning for 2000, finally that it's protected, and then you're going to turn into the Leeb, then essentially, becoming 6000, and then just punch for the 6000. And that's pretty much it, how that works for the most part. So literally, that's how this combo works. They just need to have a monster, you just need to have this kind of a combination of cards, and then just like burn them for 2000 and then attack for 6000. That's literally how that works. That is the best case scenario, but obviously there are different kinds of different things that you need to do. But like I said, this is the most simple one and very, very fun one. But that's pretty much does it for the combo, so-called the 2-card combo, and also does it for the deck profile itself overall. So hope you enjoyed. Like as usual, I'm going to remind, don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, stay safe, and yeah, probably going to see more videos from me coming out in the near future because of the fact that I'm actually going to be in a schedule, so I'm going to be a little bit more motivated to do stuff. See you next time. Bye-bye.